I have a ministry called Kosher Pastor that seeks to try to connect Christians with their Jewish roots, and not in a Judaizing way, and not in a bash you over your head way, and not in a shaming way or anything like that. And a while back, several months ago, you became a student in that program.
So I feel like every time I sit in a session, and I was keeping notes in a notebook, and then I switched to making notes online, keeping them digitally in a nice file because I organize better that way. But it's a lovely fire hose of information. Some things that I'm like, oh man, I had no clue, and you have to go back and rewind it and listen to it again and make sure you get the note right. And I love that I really do love that it's in the format of a simple quiz after almost every session, because I can listen to things like while I'm I just listen to a podcast while I'm cutting the grass, and I'm like 80%, maybe 90% paying attention, and 10% of making sure my lines are straight, but
right.
This is like 100% pay attention, because the most, the smallest little detail might be one of the questions in the quiz, and I want to get 100%, and so there's the fun of that. Now, maybe if you're in high school, you might not think the tests are fun, but as an adult, I'm like, this is great, this is fun. And so the majority of what you might be talking about in the Bible, I am pretty familiar with, but I might not know the story behind it. And that, to me, is a revelation that is better than any fiction novel I can read. When I'm like, oh, my word. Okay, so that's what was said. And through my 21st century Western Christian lens, this is what I innocently assumed it meant. But now you're telling me that in this, like, with factual, documented, historical references, that's not what it means at all. It actually means this. And most of the time, if not all of the time, when the light is shed on it in that way, I walk away going, that changes everything. That changes everything.
Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't change my theology even as much as deepens my love and my respect for the sovereign beauty and love of God himself for his people and the brilliance of his plan. The more you know, right? The more you know. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And to go back to your question, absolutely applicable to any believer.
What if someone doesn't know anything about this Jewish roots of our faith, Messianic stuff, Hebrew, anything? If they know nothing and they go into the Kosher Pastor program, do you think it starts basic enough to where anybody can jump in?
Oh yeah, the beauty of the kiddie pool zero entrance is that you get your foot wet little by little, and it's a good way to get into the pool. Even if you're an adult, you want to cannonball into the deep end, and I feel like it's a beautiful start at 101 level, and yeah, there's I'm not so arrogant to think that I could sit through those first 4 or 5 things going like, I know all this. Like we need reminded on the most simple of things, don't we? Because we're humans.
Well, maybe the opposite question, Aaron, is the program deep enough to where if they already know some Messianic stuff, can they still get something out of it?
You get to tread water soon enough. That's for sure. It gets beautifully deep. And multiple times, hey, you can look at my grades and see that I didn't get 100% every time. There's things to learn. And I'm not the guy that's like, oh, well, 90%, that's a passing grade. I'm like, what did I miss? Like, I need to learn this. Maybe that's the 5 in me on the Enneagram scale. Like, I need to learn this information. I want to learn this information.
If I'm not mistaken, and my memory's bad, I apologize. It's the ADHD. But I think you've even texted me before and like, hey, man, I missed this one. What?
What happened to my 100% average? Shoot.
Let me say, as the leader of this program, it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you.
I want you to know it's all right.
And I feel that it's absolutely deep enough. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched a session, whether it's in this room or on the back porch. Those are my 2 favorite places to watch. And I'm just like, and things are said, and I'm like, what? Oh my! It's those paradigm shifts. It's like, well, if before I knew this, so it's just beautiful. It's when you say is it deep enough, it's the beauty of those little tiny pieces of information that inform the big, you know,
Okay.
and so even if you have the big picture, I'm talking to like maybe a Christian pastor, or even just someone who has a thirst for knowledge and studying the Bible, and you have the big picture. The pieces of information, because you've dug so deep, because you guys at Kosher Pastor have dug so deep and you're finding these gems, it does change the overall topography of our big picture. It's presented in a way that's understandable, if palatable is the right word, like bite-sized, like I get it. But yet, any truth that you're not currently embracing is paradigm shifting. Any truth,
Sure.
even if it's
Right.
even if it's simple and bite-sized, it's still paradigm shifting.
Wow. So would you say that Aaron Shust, the guy who was constantly in church because his mom was coming up with the music, you grew up in a Christian home, you're in a good church, you went to Bible college,
yeah,
you're a worship leader, does that guy, all of that encapsulates this has your kind of stamp of approval? This, you know, as a worship leader, as a Bible school graduate, this is okay. I think this is okay.
Where were you 40 years ago? Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, Aaron, this has been a joy. Thank you for opening up about some very personal stuff. I mean, what you and your family are on a journey with, and I appreciate that. And hope.
And we're on that journey together. Just for the record, it's not me alone being the crazy guy in the house.
Right.
We are all in. My wife, my children. I wish you could hear my little 8-year-old boy with Down syndrome try to say Shabbat Shalom. It's adorable.
That's awesome.
It's like Shema, 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 Shalom. That's how it comes out.
You're like, perfect. Love it.
Perfect.
Well, Aaron, thank you once again. And listen, if you guys are watching this, if you come from a Christian background, and if you are interested in learning about depths of your faith that you didn't know were there, then maybe Kosher Pastor is for you. So thank you so very much. God bless you. And both Aaron and I will say to you, Shalom.
Shalom.